It all happened this year. Last year I was just like one developer and just minding my own business, and now I can open myself up.
Hello everyone, welcome to On The Go podcast. Today we have with us Jonny Burger. He's the creator of Remotion, a React tool that helps create videos programmatically. In this podcast, we go through how he got started with programming, how his love for animations began, how he got a mentor, built a company, his team, how he manages his health as a developer, and a lot more things. So let's get into the conversation.
Hello, Jonny. Thank you for accepting the invitation to come on this show and be with me. Thanks a lot. And I would like to welcome you to On The Go podcast.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. It's always a lot of fun to have a discussion, and happy that you have me on.
So when I was preparing for this interview, I watched a few of your videos. So now one of the videos that I saw was the that you quit your full-time job, and in intro part, the clip begins in 2011. And with a photo of you playing with a computer. So we'll rewind the story till to that. How did you begin your coding journey?
Yeah, my coding journey started over 10 years ago, but I am not that old. It just meant that I was like 16 or 17. Um, and it started when I got my very first iPhone, and I won the iPhone. It was like completely random, and there was like a problem where you could not play the YouTube videos on your phone in Switzerland, or like the music videos specifically. And I don't know, I was just in my room um, trying things out, and I found like a way that you can bypass that. And so I tried to turn it into an app, and that app got some users, and I think that's how it all started. It was probably pretty illegal, but that was, I think, like the first instance of me turning an idea into an app.
A few days or months back, you posted about Vivo, right? That was the name of the app, right?
That's right. That was the beginning, and pretty poor, humble beginnings back then. I remember in this app there was no submit button. There was like a text field, but I was not able to code a submit button in Objective C. It was just too hard for me. The only solution that I got to work was that you enter some text, and then you have to wait 5 seconds. So there's like an interval in the background where if you don't type any text for 5 seconds, then it submits it. Yeah, I guess the story here is that you should put the apps out even if they are terrible, and then you go from there.
How did you find your love for animations, programmatic animations?
If I did not go for programming, the only thing that I did before even was just like making videos. Since I was a child, I was just like fascinated by like cameras, but also that you could download After Effects and, I don't know, put like an image and then animate that. Very simple animations. I don't know, this was just kind of fun to me since very early, and I don't quite remember how I got into that, but it stuck with me. What I also realized is that in order to build like a product and promote it, to be successful, you need to do both. You need to do good engineering, and you need to do good promotion. So I had nobody else. Therefore, I would build it and then try to promote whatever app or project I was working on. And it was always using After Effects, trying to make screencasts and put it into a phone's frame, try to animate it nicely. And at some point, I felt like, man, these Adobe After Effects programs, this Adobe programs, for example, After Effects, they don't work how I expect them to work as a programmer. And I was wondering whether it would be possible to make videos in React, not because it would be easier in general, but I was so much better in React than in these tools that for myself I considered building this program. This is how I started with the Remotion project.
So that's how you got the idea for Remotion, and you executed on it and started with the project. And where is the company right now? Like, what's your vision and where it is right now?
So since beginning of this year, I've turned Remotion into a company. For the first year, I guess I was just like focused on realizing all the feedback and bugs and whatever has been thrown at me, trying to improve the product. And there was enough traction that I guess I was just like following the advice of the people around me who said, yeah, you should make this a company. Take it serious. It can become something big, and therefore you should protect it by finding a company around it. And I did that, and it continued. Like I continued getting more traction. Companies wanted to use it, and myself and all my peers started more and more believing in it. I then quit my job this summer. It was only a part-time job, but nonetheless. So I guess that was like the next big milestone. Since like 4 or 5 months, I'm working full time on Remotion, which also means that I am currently using up my savings. It's really true when I say that I am investing all that I have in Remotion, using up my savings and letting my bank account almost go to zero. So right now we are at a point where we need some external funding, and we are doing our first angel round very soon. So friends and people in the React ecosystem, as well as customers, they are going to invest in us, and that will keep us going for next 1.5 to 2 years. And this is the first time that I'm saying this, but anyway, the cat will be soon out of the bag.
Yeah. I want to ask about the initial thing that you said. People around you supported you to actually embrace this concept and like pushed you to like pursue it. What would you say about say mentors or that constantly supported you?
I would say so far I've mostly been like making up my own mind and ignoring everyone until at some point I realized that they are right. So quite egoistic, but now I realize that so many people besides me not believing them have always supported me along the way, and some of the most notable people of that are William Candelion from his YouTube channel, who
Yeah.
is one of the biggest supporters and also investors, and also maybe not so much out there publicly, but Lucas Peloni, he's my flatmate. We started so many projects together, went to hackathons. I worked for him for 3 years at his agency. He has also been one of the biggest supporters and people who have influenced me and have convinced me to go down this route.
Yeah, so since you brought up William, so I want to ask, since I consume a lot of YouTube and I've watched a lot of his content too. So how did that happen? How did you get in touch with William? How did you guys collaborated?
A few years ago, I was in the React Native space, just realized, oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever. I was trying to build my own React Native app and was also already a bit out there posting my own animations on Twitter, just like William. At this point, I was just a fan, and William was an idol. I just replied to one of his tweets and was just like fanboying, and then he like noticed me, greatest thing ever, and wanted to meet up, and
Yeah.
so we did. Uh, and really, it was I was like meeting him as a fan, never like expecting that we would end up doing videos together, and it evolved from there. Um, no, William is like just one of the awesomest people that I know, and like totally badass.
And since we are on the YouTuber space itself, the main reason for why I found Remotion was because of Fireship. So the Fireship video, I think that was also a pivotal moment. Like a huge load of people actually saw that video and actually I think used Remotion. So how did that collaboration come together?
So the Fireship video happened because William wrote a Twitter DM to Fireship, "Hey, you should make a video about Remotion. I'll help you with it." And yeah, uh, it was that simple. He picked it up and said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I said, "Oh my God, we need to make it happen." So I helped as well. But yeah, it it was way easier than to make it happen than we thought, and it was like very organic. Like Jeff actually did like the majority of the video by himself, and he's just like a fan of the framework. He understands it. We did not have to explain it to him or pay him anything to feature it on the channel. Um, really genuine, and it helped a lot to spread the word about Remotion.
So as you know, I'm also a developer myself. So one of the main things that I felt like I wanted to ask is the mindset of being a framework consumer is different from a mindset of being a framework creator. So a few years back, I think someone on Brad Travisy YouTube channel posted that when you start, you think as a perspective of consuming, say framework or Angular or using Angular or React or something like that. But eventually, we want to, as a developer, we want to grow where we create something that other people will use, right? So, on what levels do you think the growth need to happen for, say, for me itself? So, what are the mindset shift and what are the skill set that are needed to make that those changes so that I can be change from being a framework consumer to a framework creator?
Yeah, so I think we all start as a framework consumer in the beginning, and how we end up coming up with our own frameworks is that we use this framework so much that we really start to understand how it works under the hood, and we are of the opinion that it sucks. So we create our own framework. I'd say this is how most frameworks are created, and to get there, you definitely need to understand how how a framework. I guess you're always, if you make framework, you're always inspired by other ones, and once you understand how these frameworks work under the hood, then you are you are becoming ready to create your own, I'd say.
Now back to building like your company part. So now you have interns in your company. How much is that affecting you, or how much are you growing building a team? It's a different perspective while being an individual hacker and building stuff on your own, and it's a different experience having someone else be in the same room as you and help build the stuff that you have a vision for. So, how is it that? What are the changes that you had to inculcate in yourself?
Well, actually, the intern is now promoted to being an actual employee. We hired him as a junior developer like 3 months ago. So yes, it's
Yeah.
true. We are now a team of three. Me, a co-founder and business developer, and that said, the junior developer, as well as we work with some freelancers all over the internet. And how I look at it is that I it I know that it is impossible to keep it all for myself. If I just maintain it all the time, it will never it will never grow. So I have to open myself and let other people collaborate. And I must say it is scary at first, and it is a big overhead, because if there are multiple people, you need to communicate, and that makes everything less efficient. But then if these people are really good, then you still do more. So it is definitely worth it. And I'd say some of the most important things, features in Remotion, or accomplishments that we have made, like setting up this company and our fundraising, I did not do myself, but my team has helped me helped me do. And we, although we are out there on GitHub, like everybody can just look at the code, we are still like a commercial company, and we have aspirations to make money. We are selling these company licenses, to companies who may not use it
Yeah.
for free. That's just how we have defined it in our license. And we hope to pay the team that is working on Remotion, including myself, using these license fees. And how it is usually in startups, I, we are now operating at a loss, of course. So right now, not all the three people can be paid solely by the company licenses, and that's how why we have now involved investors, so that we don't go broke and that we have some runway to keep building and growing. But it all happened this year. Last year I was just like uh, one developer and not, yeah, like just minding my own business, and now I can open myself up.
As a developer, one of the things that developers commonly have is like health problems, because we are fully immersed in this in our work. If we are passionate, we are completely on this thing. One of the things that when I was going through your social is that you used to run a lot, and you had a streak of 1726 days of running every day. So how do you manage your health, in the post COVID state, and while managing company? How is it that you manage your health, and what are the tips that you will give to developers?
Maybe not as well anymore today. I'm not sure if I can give good advice. I try to run at least 1 or 2 times a week. I can recommend that, because that is good physically. Um, you stay in shape, as well as mentally, because that is a time where you can get things off of your head, and that's very important, to keep a clear head. I'd say this is one of the biggest problems that you can have as a programmer. You overthink it in the end, and
Yeah.
that's my way of dealing with it. And whenever my head is heavy, I go for a run. Yeah, and I like to do other sports as well. Maybe now in the winter, bit more skiing. In terms of, I'd say like the biggest health problem that developers have is like posture, and I have some neck problems as well. Uh, that I need to work on, and like get my posture really straight.
So I have the same neck problem. Yeah, so I'm also trying. That's like when I saw that you had a like consistent streak of like 3.5 years of running. So I was like, wow, that's I could never do that. How did you do that? So that's one of the reasons why.
How that happened is, I think it was like um 18, and I was not doing any sport at all. I was compared to the other kids very much out of shape. And there was like one New Year's Eve, was like I was generally feeling bad because I was like not active, not feeling good about taking care of myself and my life. And we got like blackout drunk. And the next morning I said, okay, we have to change something. um, Running was the easiest way to do something. No equipment, no training partner. I
Yeah.
can just go out and run. And said, okay, that was actually good. I'm happy I did this to myself. Did it again the next day. And I was just so driven to keep it up every day. And when you get like 100 days in a row, then you cannot possibly stop. Then you would lose 100 days and you would start from zero. And that's why I did, I think, like 1600 days of running every day.
Yeah, that's actually great. Before we end our podcast, do you want to share anything with the viewers about your company and your vision and how they can use Remotion and yeah, other things?
Yeah, totally. So if you haven't checked out Remotion, you can go to remotion.dev. This is, I guess, my creative lab for trying something new to make videos programmatically. And I'm putting my heart into this. If you like to follow this, then there's a lot of social media channels that I am on. My personal ones, you can find Jonny Burger on Twitter, on YouTube, also our Remotion channels. I'm not just promoting Remotion, but trying to help out with React and other topics as well. If you if you have an idea or like to chat, then hit me up. This is uh, now my thing, communicating with other developers and trying to build things together. This is my pitch for Remotion.
Thank you so much for taking time out to listen to this episode. Hope you have found this podcast useful. Do drop a comment if you felt the same. Thank you for watching and see you guys in the next one.